This is the very first part of my dual sector gear build. It's my first DSG build, and I figure I'd just give you some short video updates as I go along. So I'm just starting out at the very beginning, and I'm going to start by making sure that everything is all good with the piston. So I've got just a poly carb piston, whatever it is, plastic piston with a Lonex POM head. I'm going to be, I made a little start last night, but the drill's a bit loud. I'm going to be Swiss cheesing this. I'm just going to be correcting the angle of engagement. So this is just on a relatively stock G&P gearbox. It's a G&P cylinder, and the cylinder head, I don't know, it looks like it's been upgraded, but I don't know exactly what to. So what I'm going to do here is basically work out where the piston's sitting and where it needs to be pushed back to for the right angle of engagement. So I'll just see if I can zoom in on that for you. So you can see I've made a couple of marks on the gearbox using a little pencil. So I've just marked where it's sitting at the moment. So there's a little line down here, and then I've also marked, so what I've done is I've taken the piston back using the sector gear and taking it back to kind of the ideal position for engagement at 12 o'clock. And actually I think my mark was a little bit far back. So that's about the ideal place for engagement right there. I would say, yeah, about there. One thing that does need to be noted is, well, yeah, it might be alright. I was thinking that maybe the first or second tooth will need to be done down a little bit more, but I think that it should be fine where it is. So where I had it before was out there, which actually that's pretty good. Yeah, so that's actually a pretty good engagement right there. I think probably I will just come back a little bit so it's there. So that's where the angle of the tooth on the sector gear matches the tooth on the piston the best. So I'll just make a little mark down there. And there, this can actually spin quite freely. It's just about catching this tooth here. So I might just make a little bit of a file it down a bit more. And as it comes out, you can see the dual sector gear only uses a limited number of teeth, so I'll just colour in this tooth so I know this is the last one I need, and then we'll get rid of all the rest of these teeth just to save weight. So there we go, and then to actually correct the angle of engagement, I've got a bit of sorbothane here. It came from Air Lab this morning, so I'll be using that. Okay, so I've just finished working on the piston and on the cylinder head. Just show you what I've done to the piston here. So I've just done a very light Swiss cheese mod here. Just lighten that up a bit. You can see on the inside there are the white piston spacers. Just show you one. And that's just that's going in there because the piston has been short stroked because of the DSG. So it's just to space out the spring a little bit, kind of pre-compress it so you get a bit more FPS off of a normal spring. And then on the gear rack, or the tooth rack, so I've got rid of the majority of these teeth down here, and also kind of create a bit of a ramp on these teeth up here. You can kind of see how it goes up, and that's just so that the teeth on the sector gear don't contact with the teeth on the piston. Also on the inside of the cylinder head, I've installed a sorbothane pad, taken out the previously installed protective rubber pad, and actually it lines up pretty well now, and I'll just show you how that looks. So unfortunately this isn't the best camera angle because I need to get my hand in on the camera side, but basically you can see the sector gear now engages quite nicely with the first tooth of the piston down there. And it also just about misses. It will do when it's all put together, when it's all sitting in the right place, but it just misses the first couple of teeth on the piston. So yeah, that's my short stroking done, sorbothane installed, piston work done. Now it's time to give the gears a shim. So I've just finished my shim job. These gears actually shimmed pretty easily. I thought I was going to have to do a lot of fine tuning, but they're quite wide compared to the helical gears that I set up in my other gearbox, and so I think on the bevel gear I only needed one shim on the bottom. The spur gear had one shim on the bottom, and the Selector gear had I think one on the bottom, one on the top, and they were all 0.15mm shims, so actually incredibly tight fit to the gearbox. And yeah, I did check, you know, by putting on 0.15mm shims, which is the smallest I have, on top, and they all binded a little bit when I put on the extra shim. So it's just been taking one back from kind of binding and friction. The gears mesh well together, and there's pretty much no movement up and down, except for there's a tiny bit on that gear, on the is that the bevel gear. There's a tiny bit on the spur gear, but like I say, if I'd put in any more shims, it would just start binding up the gearbox. So just give you a little look of what that looks like. I'm just going to put my flashlight in my mouth so I won't be able to talk, but at least it will light it up a little bit better. And just give it a spin. So hopefully, as you can see, they're spinning quite freely, and they continue spinning after I give it a little go. There's a tiny little bit of noise, but there's nothing really can be done about that because I can't move the gears anywhere without binding them up, because if I put any more shims in there, then it will bind, and if I take any out or move anything around, it will be moving stuff out of alignment. So that's kind of the best it's going to get. Very few shims needed. Time to put it together and set up with the motor. I think I'm going to do a quick firing test without the spring and piston installed. So I just put in the motor and set up the MOSFET as well. Okay, so I've just put the gearbox together and attached the motor. I've installed the MOSFET as well now, and the Chimera, and I've just been doing a little bit of programming, just getting it all set up. Just figured I'd show you. I need to space out the selector plate because it's not quite pushing down hard enough on here. So I'll just give you a quick demo of auto. So like I say, this is 11.1 volt, 1800 milliamp hours, and it's a 65 to 130C discharge. It's a decent enough battery, and we've got the battery going up to the Chimera MOSFET there. It's the Mark II, and then you've got the data wires coming in here, and this is what it sounds like. I think I've got a 3-round burst mode programmed on here at the moment. But I just have to see when it's actually in the gearbox and once the selector plate is properly spaced out. So yeah, it works. It's quite quiet as well. One thing to note is that at the moment I've got the standard trigger in there at the moment. It does kind of produce a bit of a hair trigger anyway, but there's some material that needs to be taken off of the speed trigger. So I'll show you the material that needs to be taken off the speed trigger as well while the gearbox is open, but there you go. I just wanted to make a quick note because I'm installing a Black Talon Concepts Chimera Mark II, And I'm also trying to install a speed trigger. And on the website for BTC, on the comparison chart, they say that this trigger is compatible with the Chimera Mark II. Just want to show that actually it's not. So this bit here actually interferes with this bit which houses the trigger switch. So if we just put it in there, it sits on top of that trigger switch there, meaning that you'd, where's my pencil? I'll use this. You'd have to get rid of this section of the trigger. It will fit with that bit missing, but this whole corner is going to have to come off for this to fit in. So just a little warning, it's not instantly compatible with the Chimera Mark II, no matter what they say on their website. Well, it's all back together. I haven't put the body back on yet, but I've just put it back into the lower receiver, connected up the battery, and put the piston in, and here it is. It's pretty good. Not quite got full auto working. It might just be something to do with playing with the fuses or some of the settings on the MOSFET. But yeah, pretty neat. Okay, so gearbox comparison. This is the previous gearbox. It's another G&P unit, and it's running a M90 spring with a smart control unit version 2. And a set of helical gears in there and an EG1000 motor. The battery is an 11.1 LiPo, 1.8 thousand milliamp hours, 65C discharge rate, and it's kind of getting on the low side. And here is the finished product, all put back together. I managed to get the hair trigger working, and here's semi. Pretty nice. Happy with that.